Hi, this is Tex with Thinking Moms Revolution, and today I am thinking out loud with Jill Rubolino. Jill is an autism mom and an activist. She is one of the co founders of Autism is Medical, also known as AIM. I had the greatest time with her this weekend while I was in Houston on a book signing and had the chance to sit down and talk with her and could not wait to get her here on an interview because I had so many questions about what's happening politically on the scene with the IACC. Did I get that right, Jill? Or is it IAAC?
IACC.
IACC. Yes. And you're going to tell us what that stands for and what that is about. We keep seeing it on the news feed. We know that there's some excitement being generated. We know something's happening. But the reason I wanted you here today, Jill, is to clarify for us and to impart your knowledge and educate us on what's going on. First of all, tell us what it stands for.
So IACC is the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committee, and it's the committee in our government that meets and makes recommendations. They don't make policy, they make recommendations to different agencies, mainly the Department of Health and Human Services, about different research programs and what the needs are for the autism community. And we just went to our first IAC meeting last July 9th. It was brought to our attention by another activist mom, Dawn Lawborough, and Gina Reed and I traveled to give some public comment. And during that meeting, they had invited two physicians, Dr. Bowie, who is pediatric gastroenterology and nutrition, and Dr. Richard Fry, who's neurology and metabolic, to
Okay,
give
wait.
presentations.
Let's slow down a little bit. So this is a committee that makes recommendations
Right.
to Congress.
To several different places, depending on what the recommendation is, if it's for research and different programs that need attention. And it's basically to coordinate the efforts through different agencies for the autism community.
Different government agencies. Which kinds of agencies?
Well, there's the CDC that does their
Mm,
separate work.
okay.
There's it in inside the IAC plan. There's different strategic events, different studies. The budget is divided up based on what they determine is the need.
Okay.
Different projects that are going on. So this is basically where our government responds to the autism community as a whole. We don't have an autism czar like we were supposed to. We don't have one place that we can go to get things done. This is an overseeing committee, and they don't make policy, they just make
They make
recommendations.
recommendations to those people who are going to be making policy.
Who are going to do the studies and the research and make those policies. So,
Okay.
for instance, wonderful work by Wendy at NAA with the wandering, and they were able to get a ICD-9 code pushed through for wandering, which is the through the CDC. So now kids that have a high risk for wandering or have wandered in the past can have that down as one of their related to their medical and their disability
Awesome.
situation. So things like that can get done through that committee, but I want people to know that they're not actually making the policy.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about what happened in July. You went to the meeting. It was in Washington, is that correct?
It was in Maryland
In
at
Maryland.
National Institute for Health,
Okay.
and we did go to give public comment, and it was really a great experience. There's a lot of parents that go to give public comment and to attend the meeting. The important thing about that meeting was both Dr. Fry and Dr. Bowie gave excellent presentations to the committee members and the people that were in attendance and talked about the need for medical care for our children. And that's what we are going there to talk about, is appropriate medical care for our kids and equal access to the same health care as all other pediatric patient populations.
So what came of the July meetings then? Did they follow through on those doctor's
So they
recommendations and
true at all. They talked about, there was a member of the American Academy of Pediatrics in attendance, And he talked about the fact that the AAP has a task force in existence that's already been in existence that's supposed to be working on things related to autism. My partner, Gina Reed, has tried to contact that office multiple times. I've tried to contact the AAP over the past 12 months. Their response to me was they sent me their policy that you can read online in the mail.
Hmm.
They're supposed to be coordinating with IAC. They're also they talked about coordinating with the physicians, but since that meeting on July 9th, neither physician has been contacted by anybody from IAC or the American Academy of Pediatrics to make that connection.
Wow.
There was some amazing comments and advocacy by Lynn Redwood. That
And
was
she's on the committee. Lynn Redwood is.
We're on the committee, thank God.
And for
And
those who don't know, she's the founder of National Autism Association.
she is the president of Safe Minds.
Safe Minds. Okay.
Mhm. So she talked about the need for attention on placed on our kids' medical needs, and that it needs to be a separate working group or committee, and they need to address it, and they haven't addressed it. So we're going to attend the next strategic planning workshop, which is going to be on October 29th, and there's 9 moms going.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that.
And so, what are you 9 mothers? What are you going to be doing while you're there? What is your purpose, your goal? What's happening?
Unfortunately, they only give you 3 minutes to give public comment, so you have to choose your words wisely. But I think it's important to have our presence known and let them know that we are there to follow up on their commitment to our kids' medical needs and find out what exactly are they going to do to follow through on their promises. They invited the physicians to give presentations. Both presentations were extraordinary. Embedded in those presentations, both physicians made reference to children getting much better and even recovering with adequate medical care, and I think that's an important point. And they really haven't made any effort to start a process between those doctors or any doctors and the AAP to make a guideline for the healthcare industry. And that is what we're going to talk about when we go there. And each mom will tell their story in 3 minutes about what their child's medical needs were and how they weren't met
Awesome.
by our industry. Yeah.
I love how proactive you guys are and how organized you've been and how you're really taking charge of the situation. So, what can the rest of us who aren't going with you, how can we support? How can we help? What can we do?
So every person that wants to submit public comments, very, very easy to do. It's just an email. They can go on the IAC website and let's see, they're going to go on, sorry, I wrote it down for us.
It's okay,
here.
take your time. Everybody here is
So on IACC.hhs.gov,
okay.
they can click on meetings and events, and that'll list all of the upcoming meetings and the meetings that have already happened, including the video cast, which they can watch, so they can watch those presentations. And then on the left menu, there will be an instruction for public comment, and it'll give the email address, and they can submit their public comment in writing for public record. In addition to that, I'm going to be bringing our stories. I want everybody to send me their 2-page story, include a picture if you want, to bring our kids to iac@gmail.com. And I can put that link up for moms so that I can bring those with me when I go. I don't feel personally that they read our public comments. There were many parents that have been going there time and time again, talking about the same issues, and it just doesn't seem to get addressed.
So the better plan here, excuse me, my phone just went off. The better plan here is to send it to you because you're going to take them and hand them directly to them rather than the public comments, which might, who knows what happens.
You can submit it to both. So
Okay.
I would definitely submit it as public comment. That goes on public record. So if public comment gets, 250 submissions about medical needs not being met and
Right.
kids not getting health care, that's going to make a difference, and that's what we're going to focus on.
Awesome. Okay, Jill, I think this helps us understand what's happening and what we can do to support you prior to the meetings. And we can watch those meetings, the meeting that you're going to be attending, we can watch that live, right? They stream it?
They do. I'm not sure if last time it was on C-SPAN 3, but even after the meeting, the video cast will be published.
Okay,
And
great.
I do want to just say a few more places to look. I want parents to know that they have patient rights. And if they don't know what their patient rights are, they can go to the Joint Commission website, and there's a pamphlet that they can download in both English and Spanish. It's jointcommission.org, and the name of the pamphlet they can search in the search box is Speak Up, Know Your Rights. And
Excellent.
when they need to go to the hospital or they need to enter into a healthcare system, they need to be familiar with their rights before they go. And it's really important that they advocate for their kids. Every single one of our kids needs to get appropriate health care, regardless of their diagnosis. And our kids, typically as a group, are getting funneled into a psych diagnosis and not getting their diagnostic testing. And that needs to change.
So, what you would like to see then out of all of this, this energy and the effort that you're putting behind it, is you would like to see doctors treating this as a medical condition, treating the individual symptoms of the child getting the same kind of health care and healthcare benefits as a child that had diabetes or
Absolutely.
cancer or even depression. I mean, they would probably be looking at things like diet and
Right.
exercise and these things that they don't typically look at with children with autism.
Right. I mean, if you have a child that has another chronic illness and you go to enter into the healthcare system, you get all kinds of services. First of all, you have insurance coverage, you get a specialist for your child, a pediatric endocrinologist. When they're hospitalized, they're seen by Child Life. If they need OT, ST, PT, whatever it is that they need, their needs are met. When our kids enter into the system, our kids don't get anything. Our kids don't get to see an autism specialist. They don't get speech, OT, PT in the hospital. They don't get even a diagnostic test. They get psychotropic medications and they get restrained. And Dr. Bowie's presentation was extremely specific and had a lot of good video reference and a wonderful amount of information talking about how behaviors directly relate to underlying physiology. And there's no excuse at this time, with all of the research and all of the information that everybody has, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, there's absolutely no excuse that our kids don't get immediate, adequate health care the same as every other child, every other patient population. And so what we'd like to see is parents being empowered, so when they have to enter into the healthcare system, they have an expectation that those needs are met. And they let those healthcare providers know, hey, I know my rights. I know my patient rights. My child has disability rights, and you need to address their medical issues. And whether the physician feels that autism is a psych diagnosis or a medical diagnosis changes nothing. If a child appears at your door with severe diarrhea, that's the same problem if your child has autism or not. You treat it the same way. You don't say, well, your kid has severe diarrhea because they're autistic. That's discrimination. And until us as a group, as a community, as parents start to say, hey, I'm getting discriminated against because my child isn't getting checked out because of their disability. There's no place anywhere does it say if you're autistic that you automatically don't get health care. But that's what's happening, and that's what's going to stop. And we're going to make sure that they know that from this point forward, we will be holding them accountable every single time.
Wow. Jill, you are such a firecracker. You're such a powerhouse, and listening to you is so inspirational. I hope that everyone watches this and everyone who is watching will take that seriously and start to advocate for their child more and start to fight more for those medical rights that really it should be automatic.
It is automatic, and all of the things that are needed to provide our kids with good health care adequate health care, appropriate health care are in place. They work for all other patients. There's no reason they can't work for our kids. We just need to step up to the plate and make sure that we advocate when we enter into the system. When
Absolutely.
you arrive at that system, your first words you're going to say is, "My child is autistic. I need these accommodations. These are his health issues. My expectation is that you treat my child."
Absolutely. Jill,
That's
thank you so much for this message. I hope
Thanks
people
for having
will,
me.
yeah, I hope people will go submit stories to you and a picture of their child so you can take that to the committee
Yeah.
and that they can hear the stories. I mean, Thinking Moms Revolution is all about the stories. So I would encourage our viewers to go out there, write your story down, send it to Jill, let her take that to the committee and let our voices be heard. Let's all get together. Let's fight for these kids, for their rights, for the medical treatment that they need. Jill, thank you for leading the charge. You are a hero and a goddess, and I'm wowed. You're amazing. So thank you so much for being with me
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Absolutely. For Thinking Out Loud with Thinking Moms Revolution, I am Talia Michelle, also known as Tex.